Tonight, don't just watch the news, you become part of it. Complete coverage of the dispute between Children's Hospital and UMC continues with even more waiting and another deadline set. We're on top of it, so you are up to speed. Voters here in Texas will have a say on state highway projects, what a yes vote on Prop 7 will mean. And El Pasoans in Philadelphia tonight, they watched the Pope in New York City today, anxiously awaiting the chance to see the head of the Holy Church. And we have highlights from today, plus how those El Paso Catholics spent the day prepping for Pope Francis's arrival in Philly. NIchole?
A nice day today, but will the nice weather stick around for your weekend? That answer in Storm Track weather.
It's all next on ABC-7 at 9. Get ready. You become part of the day's news right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC-7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
I hope folks see it as, that we're talking, we're really trying to solve the problem.
I think both sides are actually making a good faith effort at this point. And, that's something that we haven't seen in a while.
Another night and another new deadline and another counteroffer in the Children's Hospital bankruptcy. This story developing now and all weekend. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Harp. This is ABC-7 at 9 on the CW. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Before we get to your top stories, Storm Tracker NIchole Gomez has the details we all want to know for the weekend. Good evening.
Good evening. It was a nice day today, and coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to take a look at current temperatures and take a peek at your weekend forecast. That's all coming up in just a few minutes, Bob.
All right, looking good. Thanks so much, NIchole. It's like a tennis match, if you will. Children's Hospital responded to UMC's latest proposal by 10 o'clock this morning and hit the ball back. Now, Children's gave UMC until Monday at noon to reply. Well, the county will decide whether to continue with efforts to save Children's from a financial disaster. We have complete coverage with the county judge saying a deal can be made.
We've had more progress in 1 week than has existed in a year. Everybody wants the same end result. It's figuring out the bridge to get there.
Well, that is the county judge, Veronica Escobar, saying there is still one sticking point, though, but she's keeping that and all details confidential. But she says the tone of the negotiations is different this time around, with Children's having a less combative approach. County Commissioner David Stout also senses a change in tone as well. Court documents filed this morning show the judge will allow UMC to argue why it should be allowed to present its plan to get Children's out of bankruptcy. As per bankruptcy law, the plan presented by Children's should be considered for at least 2 months before anybody else's plan can step in.
If we don't reach a settlement agreement on Monday, it's not because we didn't try everything.
What if there is no agreement on Monday?
We go back to battling it out in the courtroom.
Well, commissioners and the UMC Board of Managers are scheduled to meet early Monday morning. Children's had a rent payment, by the way, due yesterday of more than $2 million. UMC officials are confirming they did not get it. And Children's officials told us that's because of the ongoing negotiations. We'll keep you updated on Monday. Hey, for those of you living in Texas, the state is asking you to vote on Proposition 7, which would increase the budget for future highway projects by about $2.5 billion. El Paso State Rep Joe Pickett, who's also the chairman of the Texas House Committee on Transportation, says it won't increase taxes because the money would come from a portion of the sales tax and motor vehicle sales tax. Pickett also says if money problems then become an issue for the state and the money is needed, this plan can be changed.
This is based on Texas's growing economy. Should we have a downfall like in 2008 and 2009, with a majority vote of the legislature, we can reprioritize and make sure that we do put all the money needed in public education, health and human services, and we can turn this down.
Proposition 7 is up for a vote in November. I'm sure you've heard Pope Francis, he's in the States and he's done with yet another busy day, at least for today. He's probably resting up because tomorrow it's back to the grind. Here's our complete coverage.
God of peace, bring your peace to our violent world. Peace in the hearts of all men and women.
A powerful message at one of our nation's most sacred sites today as well, the 9/11 Memorial. That's where Pope Francis met with victims' families to offer his blessings. As just the fourth pope to speak before the United Nations General Assembly, Pope Francis spoke out about what he calls the economic and social exclusions of the poor, issuing a challenge against selfishness.
Any harm done to the environment, therefore, is harm to humanity, and should ensure that they are not subjective to oppressive lending systems.
Yeah, the Pope visiting immigrants also at a school in immigrants and then school children, I should say, in East Harlem. He then finished the day with Mass at Madison Square Garden, and as you can imagine, it was a packed house. Our complete coverage also continues throughout the weekend. Now, the Pope leaves for Philadelphia at 6:40 in the morning El Paso time, and then he lands at 7:30, and at 8:30, a Mass at the Cathedral Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul. Then a visit to Independence Mall at 2:45 in the afternoon, followed by the Festival of Families and a prayer vigil at 5:30 in the evening. Now, if you would like to watch all of these events live, just go to KVIA.com. All you have to do is click on the picture of the Pope that's on our homepage. That will take you to the live feed so you can watch everything he does tomorrow in Philadelphia. And you know, that is where a large group of El Paso Catholics have been all week, and tonight they're probably too excited to get some sleep. You can imagine. Well, we also have some of the pictures that they are sharing on air, online, and on social media this weekend. El Paso Bishop Mark Seitz is seen here taking a photo with one of many folks who wanted to take a picture with him, and we certainly thank him and everybody who shared their pictures, because they are really showing us exactly what it's like to go there and experience a trip of a lifetime. Now, these are just a sample of the countless pics that you will find on the Diocese of El Paso Facebook page tonight. Again, thanks for sharing those, and more to come over the weekend. A musical composition by El Pasoan. Have you heard this? It was chosen to be played at the Mass tomorrow morning in Philadelphia. We spoke with Peter Kohler today about how his song was chosen to be played at the Pope, or for the Pope, as he starts breaking the bread tomorrow during communion. He got this exciting announcement a few weeks ago.
Well, the Pope is breaking the bread. While he has the bread in his hands, the host, consecrated host, and breaking it, we'll be singing my piece, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. So to have my piece be the musical vehicle that carries that prayer is pretty tremendous.
You might be wondering why he's not in Philadelphia. He said he wanted to stay home because his family wasn't able to go with him, so he's staying with his family. And it's all about the family in Philadelphia with this World Conference. Now, remember, ABC-7 is on air online at KVIA.com, and you can look for those El Pasoans sharing their pictures with us at the KVIA.com Facebook page and the El Paso Diocese page. Hey, follow us on Twitter as well at ABC7 Breaking. In other news tonight, if you didn't know, tomorrow is the first anniversary of the disappearance of the 43 Mexican students. They've been in the headlines for a long time now. UTEP students commemorated this tragedy this morning. Now, these students marched down to the border from UTEP and turned in 43 letters to the Mexican consul. They are from El Pasoans demanding an explanation from the Mexican government on what happened to these 43 students feared dead. And the El Paso School District, by the way, wants to get high school dropouts back in the classroom. We were also there today as the superintendent of EPISD and others went knocking on the doors of former students, trying to get them back to school. It's all part of what is called Operation Outreach. It's aimed at getting these dropouts to graduate.
Our job is to identify what the problem is, to show the student how important education is, and to try to adapt to the needs of the student. So we have daycare, we have access to medical facilities.
Well, other dignitaries, including city reps, county commissioners, and EPISD school board members, even state elected officials, they also joined the group and went knocking on doors today, getting those students or former students back to school. Hey, ABC7 and TxDOT has live traffic coverage for you tonight. This is I-10 and Schuster. It looks pretty good over there in now Porfirio Diaz. NIchole, you and I were saying we are tired of all the construction, but it's needed. It's Friday, though, so a lot of that construction that delays people or shuts down the freeway, not happening, so it's good to go everywhere in the borderland tonight, NIchole.
The freeway looks like it's smooth sailing in both directions,
so
and the weather looks just fine. Yeah, it's going to stay that way. The weather looks just fine, and that's also going to stay that way. So it looks like we're in for a pretty nice weekend, right?
I hope so. Well, you tell me. That's your job here, huh?
I'm trying to make you give the forecast.
Okay. No, I don't think so. I'll stick to news.
Okay, and I'll stick to weather. Let's take a look at our clouds and radar picture, where you can see a few clouds still tracking through the region, and we should start to track more sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. Right now, we're at 77 degrees at the El Paso International Airport. A little breezy today, but winds are out of the east to southeast at 8 miles per hour, so they're not too bad right now. Las Cruces, we're at 71 degrees to southeast winds. We're currently at 5 miles per hour. So our future track model, notice we're still dry at 11 o'clock, and early in the morning we're still seeing those dry conditions, but a few clouds still tracking through the region. But by tomorrow we should start to see clear conditions. Now our current wind speeds in El Paso, we're at 8 miles per hour. Light winds in Las Cruces, Tier C, and Silver City. Again, a little windy today. We could feel occasional breezes tomorrow, but coming up in your full forecast, again, we'll see thin clouds move into the region. I should say the clouds begin to thin out. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow, warmer temperatures, and we'll even take a peek at your work week forecast for next week because we're talking hot temperatures. Bob?
Nicole, can you let me get through the weekend before you start talking about the next work week?
Sorry.
You just like sticking it to me, huh? All right. Hey, I appreciate that, but we'll talk back to you and or get back with you in just a bit because we're all talking about UTEP football. The home opener is set for tomorrow for Ryan Metz. This will be his first career college start after coming up huge last week. The former Andress Eagle, go Eagles, Nicole and I graduated from Andress, he will have a lot of hometown people pulling for him as the starting quarterback. But just because he came up big last week doesn't necessarily mean he's taking this lightly. As you can imagine, there was a lot of pressure.
It is different, you know. When you come off the bench, the nerves aren't there for you. You just go out there and perform. But when you got all week to think about it and those type things. But again, Ryan's a very mature kid and he's a very smart kid. I think he'll handle that just great.
To be honest, I'm actually nervous on every play. Ever since I was really little, you know, playing Pee Wee football, I've been nervous. You know, I always had the butterflies in my stomach.
Hey, can we all just wear T-shirts that say "Go Ryan Metz" and "Go Eagles" on the back, Nicole? I think you like that idea, right? Okay, well, tomorrow night's kickoff, by the way, is set for 6 o'clock. Tonight, the story behind this picture, showing a Southern Park police officer holding a little baby. So what is the deal, and what's behind the social media buzz? Why is it blowing up Facebook? We'll tell you all about it. Also, our New Mexico mobile newsroom crew spending the day up in Hatch, getting to know this year's high school prom queen. Her bubbly personality and big smile is what won her the crown, and she's proving that you are much more than what society might label you as. Nicole, this story's fantastic.
I can't wait to hear it, but I am tracking the heat. Just how high will the temperatures go this weekend? The answer is Storm Track Weather.
This is ABC 7 at 9 on the CW. You don't just watch the news here. You are the news. We'll be right back.